I have on the line Elma Begovic, star of Bite from Black Fawn Films. How are you doing today, Miss Begovic?
I'm very well. Thank you for asking.
Great. Well, I wanted to start out by asking you, can you summarize a little bit about what Bite is about for our listeners?
For sure. Bite is the classic story of a girl who goes on a vacation with her girlfriends and she gets bit by, what she seems to think is an innocent, bug or insect bite of some kind. And she goes home to her regular life with her fiance, family, and friends. And she starts exuding some really strange and odd behavior as a result of this bite, which starts to really affect her life and her relationships with the people around her. And she just starts kind of deteriorating from a human being and starts evolving into something unimaginable.
Wow. So, how did you get involved in Bite and Black Fawn?
Much like any struggling actor, I auditioned, and I had a friend of mine, Ashley Hallahan, who was a casting director. I didn't have an agent at the time. She said, "Hey, I'm working on this project. You should come out. I think you'd be really good for the lead." And so I went in and I auditioned, and I made it past the first round of auditions, and they called me back for, a second round, and I genuinely just didn't think I had what they were looking for. And lo and behold, they called and said I got the part, and that's kind of how everything started.
In the film, as you change and become this other being, there are certain things that you do, certain acting nuances that you exhibit. How did those come about? Was that your decision or Chad's decision?
It was a lot of collaboration. I think, Chad being the director that he is and the projects that he's done in the past, he's really come into his own when it comes to character development. So he would, approach me and say, this is kind of how I envision this scene going, and this is how I kind of see Casey behaving and acting. How do you feel about that? Do you want to try that out? And then we would sort of collaborate back and forth, and he would give me the opportunity to add in notes on how I thought maybe we could adapt some of the movement he was envisioning or the dialogue even and stuff like that. I think that, scripts are written with this idea in mind of what, the creators want. And once actors are cast, that's when you kind of revise a little bit and you try to really, as an actor, you want to make the character your own. So you think, what, this isn't really something she would say or do, and how can we change that? So a lot of collaboration, but a lot of direction was taken, of course, from Chad, because at the end of the day, it was his vision about how he wanted Casey to end up in this movie.
And can you tell me a little bit about your character, Casey? What is she like?
Yeah, Casey is she's mid-20s, and she's kind of stuck because she's engaged and she kind of has, her life is on track on paper. But I think when we meet her, she's a little bit nervous. So she's on this vacation with her girlfriends, and she really is just trying to let loose and escape the reality that, she's going to be married soon, and she doesn't really know if that's what she wants. And then as the plot, progresses and she returns, she carries a lot of baggage and remorse with her because of the events that happen on her trip. And then as she starts to evolve into this, unknown insect bug-like thing, she really struggles between, maintaining her sanity and her human feelings, because they start to really get drowned out in this insect that she becomes. So she's kind of like that fallen hero, like she doesn't want to be a bad person and she doesn't want to do the things she does when she starts turning, but she starts to lose control and there isn't really anything she can do, which is kind of sad.
The role also required a bit of makeup and prosthetics. Can you describe that process?
Absolutely. In the beginning, it was a bit, it was easy. It was, a couple of hours and then it was just, a little bit of bruising and some redness and Casey looks tired. But towards the end, when the true transformation had happened, we started adding, contact lenses and body paint and bald caps and prosthetic pieces, and my teeth were stained. So that's when things really started to take a turn for the worse for Casey. But visually it looked insane. By the end, the last few days when I was in full, transformation mode, we were sitting in the makeup chair between 6.5 to 7 hours for everything. And I had about a team of 4 makeup artists and a special effect guy who all worked tirelessly on making everything look perfect. So a lot of work came, from their hands, and they really birthed Chad's vision by, doing what they do. So yeah, it was about 6-7 hours to get everything on and about a good hour and a half to take all of the makeup off.
And did that help you get into character at all?
Oh, 100%. I think the fact that I looked the way I looked in the movie was what really gave way for me to do some of the gross things that I do in this movie, like my movements and my drooling and eating things and spitting and hurting people. Like all of that just, came almost naturally because you lose yourself as a person. Like when I looked in the mirror, I didn't recognize myself. I looked like a completely scary bug insect. So, that was all I needed to really guide through all of the strange behavior. Thank God that I had that on. I don't know if I could have done it if I just looked like my plain old self.
And once they took it all off, did it? I would imagine it still was under your fingernails and stuff, huh?
Yes, I was discolored for a few days, that's for sure. And there were these weird, like, I don't even know what material it was, but they would form like these goopy little balls. And no matter how hard I tried to wash it off in the shower, like some of them would just kind of like linger on my clothes. And, yeah, my skin definitely took a beating with all of the makeup. I mean, it doesn't matter what you use. It's just, you're in it for so long, you get you get all of that put on and then you sit for, 8 to 10 hours in it and you're filming and by the time it comes off, your skin and your hair take a little bit of a beating, but I recovered.
And that makeup process was towards the end of filmmaking.
Yes, yeah. So it was all a gradual steps. In the beginning, like I said, it was lighter makeup and very simple stuff. And then the last 2 days were full makeup.
Gotcha. So what was it like working with Black Fawn Films? Was it all shot there in Canada?
We filmed most of the stuff in Guelph, and then we had a component that we filmed in the Dominican Republic. I genuinely loved working with Black Fawn Films. In Toronto, they're kind of known as the it guys for horror films, and they're known for picking, strong cast, and they have they just have it down packed. They work very well together as a team, and as an actor it was one of the best sets I'd ever worked on. I was treated very well, and filming was I don't want to say easy because filming is never easy, but they try to make it as comfortable and efficient for their actors as it possibly can be. And I think as actors, we so appreciate that. And, getting to know them, they've become friends. They're awesome guys. And they let me be myself on set, which is great.
Wow, that does sound really nice. They are getting a lot of cool stuff out. Yourself, I noticed that you have a film coming out called Save Yourself. Can you describe that a little bit?
Yeah, Save Yourself is another genre film, and in this one I play a pure villain. So there's no good girl gone bad. She's just a very bad person, and it's a story about a bunch of actresses who go out to promote a film they were in, and sure enough, they stop. Their car breaks down, they stop somewhere, and they encounter this house where, they think it's just going to be an innocent encounter. They want to use a phone, and it turns out to be a bit of a bit of hell. And I'm one of the bad people that torments these girls.
And who is that put on by, or what company is putting that on?
That is done. Oh my goodness, why am I drawing? Ryan Andrews. Ryan Andrews is the director. Black Guardian Films, yeah.
Okay, wow, that's exciting. Do you have any other projects coming up?
Currently I'm auditioning. It's busy in Toronto, so I'm auditioning for a couple of gigs, and fingers crossed that something new is going to be on the horizon soon.
Great. Well, I really appreciate you sitting down with us and sitting down with modernhorrors.com. Do you have anything else to add about Black Fawns or your experience with Bite?
I just hope that people enjoy the movie as much as we enjoyed making it. You know, I think that the visuals in this film are going to be really, really intense, and I think for horror fans, it's really going to be worth their interest. So I'm excited to see what audiences, like what fans think of it. You know, the critics' reviews have started coming in, so I'm excited for the premiere next week and to have fans watch this movie.
Great. Well, thank you very much, Ms. Begovic, and good luck to you.
Thank you so much.
All right. Talk to you later.
Bye.
Bye. Hello. How are you doing, Jordan?
Doing good.
Great. I'm Gray from modernhorrors.com, and we wanted to take a couple minutes of your time. So tell me, how did you become involved with Black Fawn Films and the movie Bite?
Actually, I saw there was an audition up, and I just applied to it. And I auditioned for it, and I went to the callbacks, and then they offered me the role. So kind of the classic way an actor does, and the rest is history.
Can you tell me a little bit about your history and the roles that you've done?
Well, I started in Vancouver about 11, 12 years ago. Where I started in film, and I was doing like short films, independent features, independent movies, smaller stuff. And then about 6, 7 years ago, I moved to New York, and I went to theater school at a place called Circle in the Square, just to kind of fine-tune my physicality and my voice for me to bring it back to film. And I was in New York City for 3 years doing small film too, and theater, from Shakespeare to contemporary work. And then 3 years ago I moved to, almost 4 years ago I moved to Toronto. And since then it's been mainly film and a few plays. Like I did a show at Hard House called Bent, and another show that was made famous by Meryl Streep called Doubt. But then I got back into film. So for film-wise, my history is mainly like feature films, independent films, a lot of TV, this and that. A lot of the parts lately I've been getting are lawyers, doctors, police, and a lot of white-collar stuff.
Gotcha. Can you describe your character in Bite?
My character in Bite, Jared, he is, he's a business guy that's kind of on his way up, and he wants to establish himself at work and at home. So I fell in love with Elma's character, Casey, and I'm trying to make a family out of it. So we're engaged to be married, and I feel like I'm speeding it along because I want to be established, have a family soon, and establish myself at work in the business world.
Gotcha. So, and what can you describe the character's arc in the film?
Character's arc, he's kind of a little bit oblivious in the beginning, or maybe of what's happening with Casey. But in the beginning, yeah, so I think I override a lot of my doubts or thoughts of what potentially could have happened. Is she been with somebody else? Is she losing interest in me? Is she not liking my mom? Because my mom is very harsh on her character to change and this and that. So I don't really know, but I think it's like the classic human trait to maybe just deny or not buy into it or believe that your loved one, the person you fell in love with, has changed or is out of touch with your relationship. And then as I start to see stuff and find out other things have happened, I start to detach and kind of accept the truth without giving too much away.
Yeah. So the movie has a lot of makeup and prosthetics. Did you interact with that a lot? I mean, did you have a lot of makeup on in your character?
Not so much. I did definitely have a few scenes towards the end where there was prosthetics and makeup, which was a lot of fun. Black Fawns, they're amazing. They love horror films so much. They're so passionate about it. So it was very interesting to me because I've only done a few horror films. To be honest, I'm not the biggest horror film watcher, but I absolutely love making them, and I'm becoming a more avid watcher for sure. But yeah, so they made it an easy process and very interesting process because they brought me into that world where there were prosthetics. Well, Elma's character, my fiance, obviously has a lot more, but I definitely did have to use a bit of prosthetics and makeup for the character.
Gotcha. Now you have a film coming up called Lockpicker. What is that about?
The Lockpicker, it's the first feature by a director named Randall Okita, and he just won Best Short at TIFF last year, so hopefully we'll be in TIFF this upcoming year. Now that's about I don't know how you'd say it, not special ed, but it's a school for people, for kids that maybe had a harder upbringing. And, yeah, I don't know the exact name for the school, but basically kids are, a little down on their luck, maybe not as smart or just don't care about school as much. So I got to play a teacher that was passionate to help these kids when other teachers didn't want to be a part of that world and kind of gave up on them. But it's about the lead character. It's about his story and his family life and how he deals with the pressures of his life and being a little bit down on his luck, which happens throughout the film.
Gotcha. So now did you get to attend the screening, or are you going to attend the screening for Bite when it premieres at Fantasia?
I will be. Yeah, I'll be there next Wednesday for sure. Yeah, it's a sold out crowd, so it's pretty exciting.
Yeah. Have you been involved with a lot of the promotion for Bite so far?
Well, they do a lot of it. I think as we get closer to Wednesday, I know we might have another interview Sunday, and then maybe a few in Montreal. But they definitely have a big team for their PR, and they do a lot of that stuff. So hopefully more, but not so much yet. Okay.
Well, what's your experience been like with Black Fawn so far?
Black Fawn's amazing. They truly are, especially for the independent world. I know in a few years they will be in the bigger budgets and making bigger films. Just they're very, very passionate, and that's one thing that I like to be around. I mean, talent is one thing, which they definitely have strongly too, but passion is something that you can't really fake. And they allowed it, with a smaller budget to keep us all interested and for all of us to keep our passion going too. They do so much, and I mean they love horror films, so it comes out in their work. And I've actually had a chance to become closer friends with a lot of the guys outside of the industry, because they're the great guys and they're the great business people too.
Wow, that's great. Yeah, it is pretty apparent in their work how passionate they are. Is there anything you'd like to add about your experience with Bite and Black Fawns in general?
Yeah, I mean, I guess maybe you said it already, but yeah, I mean, it was just a great experience to work with those guys, and they chose a great cast. I mainly only got to work with Elma and Annette. I didn't get the chance to go traveling for their opening scene. But yeah, I mean, I'd love to work with these guys again. They've proven themselves that they are a force to be reckoned with, and they get stuff done, which is, from what I've noticed in the last dozen years, is that to get stuff done is, I mean, you're one of the top 5% of this industry, because everybody's got ideas, everybody thinks they can do it, everybody can be a critic, everybody can think they can do it better, but then to actually go out and do it your way and to prove people wrong, I mean, yeah, I support them fully, and I'd love to work with them again, for sure.
Great. Thank you very much. Jordan Gray, star of Bite. Thank you very much.
Okay. Thank you. Have a good day.